This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.
So as I completed my graduation in 2019, I have started my preparation for UPSC, and so I have allotted 1 year for my preparation. So I wanted to prepare through 2019 and give my attempt in 2020. Thereby my strategy for preparation has started. I would like to very much share how the preparation strategy went for my first attempt. So I would like to first talk about my prelim strategy. So for prelims, it is very important to have limited resources and to have the resources in more revisions, so that we can be better retaining and recollecting this on the day of the exam. So this was my strategy too. Like my friends and my mentors have told me to keep my resources limited. So my strategy was to finish the prelims at least first reading in first few months of my preparation, and give a revision reading in the second reading, and in the third reading I had to correlate my revision along with the series. So this was the strategy, so that I could have good three readings of my whatever I had to do. And also by doing the test series, I also did few areas which I needed to do more than 3 times, and which needed more emphasis for the prelims scenario. So this was the basic idea, where I allotted the time and how I distributed the time and resources for prelims. So this is one of the important things we need to keep in head, that resources should be very limited. So here at AKS I have seen that they have been giving this NCRTs and also their concise material. So I believe that is a very nice initiative and a very nice strategy, and it is a good push for the children who are coming here, because it does not confuse the brains that with multiplicity of the information, or it does not make us go obsessed over multiple resources. It will help keep the resources limited, and also lets us have the proper time in which we can go over the same resources over multiple times. And regarding test series, what I have done was I have periodically written like a few test series in the beginning of the preparation, where I was more focused on learning than writing the test. So but if people wants to write the test series early in their stage of preparation, they can do that also. But what I did was, like last 3 months or 4 months of my preparation, I completely packed them with the test, where I had assigned my reading timetables with the test series timetable, so that I can complete the targets according to the test, and full length sections and revisions, so that whatever revision I needed to do, it can be done to the precise and sectional wise, and that helped me improving accuracy. Similarly, AKS people are giving test series which are very well planned. They are also very section wise and full length wise and revision test wise. So by having this kind of model, will let the student understand the concepts first, understand the errors, correct the errors, revise the areas which the person is weak in, and actually show good results at the end of the day. So this is how prelim strategy can be made to the best use to anyone. For mains, we need to focus firstly on the content. People usually ask me when, in the beginning of the preparation, should we be focusing on prelims, should we be focusing on mains? What I believe is prelims and mains are not different. They are very much conjoined, and there is a lot of overlap. So my strategy was to keep everything intact in the beginning months of my preparation. So my initial months was to gather data, to understand the concepts, to try to apply the concepts, to recall the concepts. So this was the strategy in the beginning few months. In the later months, when the prelims is coming closer, we may have to be focusing more on remembering specific points. Like one of the examples, if we are doing history and we know Akbar has built Ibadat Khana, that much is enough. When we have done first reading, now we also would need where he has built it, what is the purpose of it, and were atheists were allowed, were all religion peoples were allowed. So these kind of particular things were also required for prelims. So but see, for the same point, if you have to talk about mains, the same thing, Akbar and Ibadat Khana remained same, but we may not need the city where it was built, but rather than social, economic, religious context of the event are required. So this is just an example. Similarly, in the polity and economics, specifics matter in the prelims, and the detailed analysis and application and drawing examples from multiple dimensions is what matters in mains. So this is where what comes to the mains and prelims distinction. So coming to the mains, clear analysis of the writing the papers, I would like to go paper by paper. First, I would like to talk about essay. Essays about two things. One is having a clarity of thought and the clarity of flow. So this is something which is unique to which is specific to every person, and it depends on the person's style and person's way of thinking, but it can be always altered to the best benefit of us, so that we can actually make examiner feel comfortable, examiner feel engaged with our essay throughout the process. So for attaining this amount of flow, we need practice, and for this again we need test series and we need to keep practicing. And for essay, I believe we need definitely someone who can mentor us personally, because essay is something where we need to know how the evaluator has been feeling throughout the process. So this is the part for flow and content flow for the essay. When it comes to the content part of the essay, there are few areas. Firstly, introduction. When it comes to introduction, have few things in mind, like you may use an anecdote, you may use a moving story, or you may use any past event example, or you may use any data. For example, there was an essay which says that a stitching time saves 9. So I wanted to make a very impactful introduction. So I brought a climate change example like ozone hole, where the world leaders have moved early and helped ozone healing. So these are the historical events or anecdotes which can be make an impactful beginning in the essay. It is also very helpful if you can bring an emotional element like a crisis, war, this kind of elements in the beginning. So it shows the depth of your understanding and it shows your empathetic side to the evaluator. Apart from this, regarding value addition to the essay, we need good understanding, not good data points about various social aspects. For this, I have used the same data I have used for social issues like women, education, health, nutrition and all. These are the same data which I can be using and drawing examples into the essay. And apart from this, I used to have a list of 20 to 30 quotes, 20 to 30 poems and all. Don't have more than this, because it will be very difficult to recall them. I used to have same list of poems and quotes, and before every essay test I am writing, I will be spending 1 hour or 1.5 hours on just that list of poems and quotes, and I will be reading it over and over for that period. And in the essay, I'll try to think for this context which poem can be related, which quote can be related. So this is what exercise you can do. And finally, regarding the conclusion, we can build already on the conclusion by generalistic conclusions, or by a few slokas or any recitals. We can use that as conclusion. So this is how essay can go. And by using one last thing which makes your essays refreshing is quotes, books and movies. The books and movies part we may feel are uh, are very dynamic and may not be approving, but we can be smart enough, we can be picking non-controversial message based movies which will be relatable to the evaluator also, and use them properly in the proper context, so that it looks more dynamic nature to the essay. Similarly, this also makes the evaluator feel that we have been of a calm nature, that we could recall a movie or book during the exam. So this is what works for essay. Second thing I would want to talk about is GS1. For GS1, it is again multiple parts: history, geography and social issues. For history, again it is world history, modern history and art and culture. For world history, one thing I would like to say is keep your resources limited, like single. Whatever the institute notes or whatever the academy notes you already have, stick it to itself and either complete it before prelims or even after prelims. Give it 2 or 3 readings, it would be enough, because world history questions are usually generic and we don't need deep and specific points for that. So world history can be covered. And for modern history and art and culture, it is very nice to know all the prelims things what we knew during prelims for mains. because the questions will be very generic, so the questions will be adding value only when we add content to it. For example, there was a question on Bhakti literature. So we could have written a very generalistic question like Bhakti literature was this, Bhakti literature helped in that. But if you bring properly examples like Shankaracharya's commentaries on Brahma Sutras, Deen Dayal, Dadu Dayal Ki Bani, Kabir Ki Doha. So by bringing specific things which we remembered for prelims will enrich our answer, and also work on structure for both history and art and culture, where you have to bring multi-dimensional, keep the body of a concise size, and also and address the all aspects of the question and main demand of the question. So do this either by practicing the questions, practicing a test series, or looking at the toppers notes to understand how the structure should go. And for geography, when it comes, geography I would talk about in two areas. One area is regular, whatever we have covered in NCRTs already, like monsoons, oceanology, soils and all. This will be as relevant as it wouldn't be equally relevant as it was for prelims. It would be different. We need to know the basic concepts and how it works, and we need to know the current affairs based relevance for that. For example, if we are talking about monsoon in a question, whatever we have in the prelims like the branches of the monsoon, the retrieval of the monsoon, these wouldn't be sufficient. We would also be required to give the IPCC recent studies on monsoon, how jet streams affect monsoons. This kind of unique points need to be addressed in geography. And when it comes to the second aspect of the geography, that is economic geography, from which there will be very specific questions like distribution of mineral resources, distribution of solar, distribution of wind. For this, I don't see any shortcut, or I don't see anything we have to do rather than working a little bit of hard and spending decent amount of time in this area. I had worked in this area by having few sources and having my own short notes up from this. So I think this will by having a very neat and good data points in this area will actually make evaluator feel that you have really worked hard in this region and will fetch you marks. When it comes to social issues, make a static notes based on whatever notes you have or whatever book you have been referring. And also there is NCRT book on Indian society. So using this, have a static notes. But for society, we need a lot of factual data, like how many women are being susceptible to domestic violence, how much alcohol addiction is there. So this kind of data and is very important. For this, keep reading monthlies or keep reading current affairs to keep your answers value added and enriched. So this is my strategy for GS1. And when it comes to GS2, this is polity and governance. For polity, what I did was I did Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant wasn't done in the same manner for the prelims. There can be lot of exclusions. There you can omit big chunks of Lakshmikant. Focus on mainly important areas like judiciary, parliament, elections, fundamental rights. Have a good understanding of them. Understand all the dimensions of them. And second thing is, for this, as I wasn't ready with my own notes, I have relied on a topper's notes. And from these notes, I have understood how the structuring can be done, how pictorial representation of the data can be done. For example, in judiciary, for judicial vacancies and judicial pendency, bringing only this year's data will be good, but bringing also the data of 3 years ago and representing it in a bar graph like 30% to 45%, there was an improvement. By putting it in a graphical format, the answer becomes more analytical, and also it looks better because of the picture involved in it. So this was what worked for me in the polity. And in the governance region, have a good understanding about all the schemes in the place and what is good governance, and also obtain the resources from ethics also, where we discuss about social audit, citizen charter and all. So I have a decent understanding. And for me, I have used toppers notes like 95th ranker toppers notes, and also I used monthlies for governance, from where I could use unique points like tulip, where the youth is being employed in urban local bodies. So whatever the data you have been already doing you must have done before prelims, for prelims. Try to remember the governance aspects and put them in a place. So that will work for governance. So that is my strategy for paper 2, GS2. When it comes to GS3, again GS3, I would want to keep three things in mind. First thing is, keep the resources very limited and stick to the syllabus and PYQs. PYQs and syllabus should be your guiding point for completing GS3, because GS3 it has wide range, and if you don't put limits on where you are reading and what sources you are covering, it may go beyond the range and your time will be exhausted. Second thing is have lot of data in hand, and have lot of examples in hand, and have good understanding about proper current affairs and what are the developments being happened. Third thing, very important for me in GS3, which costed me, I would like to say, is stay calm in the exam, because GS3 will ask very specific questions. Like in a year 2018, there was a question on horticulture. So and in my year there was question on S400 missiles, and there was a question on blue LEDs. So there will be very specific questions. It is not required that you know the answer. It is required that you can recollect everything associated with the answers. So S400 missiles, if you are talking, try to bring all the features of the S400, how it is useful. Like even if you don't know any features of the S400, you can talk at least a little bit in how it is in India and Russian partnership. So at least bring the associated data, even if you don't know the specific data, so that you can, and be calm throughout the process and give the attempt to the question rather than discarding the question. So this helps in tackling GS3 when it comes unpredictable. So finally, in the fourth paper of GS4, I would like to say ethics is again two-folded. One is maintenance of time, three-folded actually. One is having static, two is value addition, three is maintenance of time. Static you can do from any resource being available in the market, or you can make your own notes based on the standard reference books. And static wouldn't be the much of a task, it can be completed in smaller amount of time. The second part is value addition. It is very important. Have as ample examples as possible. If you are reading about integrity, or if you are reading about compassion, have examples which are handy in head and or which are emotional. Like there was a girl named Santoshi who was not given Aadhaar benefits because of PDS benefits because of lack of Aadhaar. So use these examples, like how compassion is also required for civil servants. Or uh, or the other aspect is extract examples from an online pages or Instagram pages. I used a page called The Better India. It or any resource, like be hungry for examples. Try to get examples from anywhere possible, so that your answers can be enriched. Last part is time management. Ethics always has problem with time management, because it is different pattern and we won't be having good practice. So devise a pattern which is more convenient for you. Few people start with 10 markers, few people start with 20 markers. But what I used to do was I used to go and write 2 case studies, then come to few 10 markers, then again write few case studies. Like I used to go here and there, so that I don't compromise the quality of either of them. That was my strategy. Work on strategy which works for you and which makes the best optimum use of time. And one more thing about case studies is, try to always bring some legislation or government scheme or some real life example, like Prevention of Corruption Act, Child Labor Act, or something, to make your case studies look not only general but also very specific, and as you have actually understood the question. So this was regarding GS papers. And regarding my optional paper, I would like to talk a few points regarding how I made the difference between 212 marks in my first attempt to 283 marks in my second attempt. So what was required for anthropology is the almost same as GS, that we need again a limited resources. We need to confine to whatever resource we have. We have to trust the resource. So regarding this, I have had a basic source, and wherever I felt my basic source was lacking in content, I used to go to some other notes and have make it 2 or 3 pages notes out of it and add to it. And apart from this, there are few areas in anthropology, like physical anthropology, which can get very technical, and this resources like PNAT, which are very big and gets exhausting to complete entire thing in a stretch. So when you read such as technical aspects of the subject, it is better to have our own short notes and focus on the areas which can be remembered, which can be recollected, and which can be applied in the paper. So have such kind of examples and case studies. And by having all these things, one more thing for people who are preparing from now to the coming mains and have no notes of your own, it's okay, you can always rely on the toppers notes. What I also did was I relied on various toppers notes like Varnit Negi, Sachin Gupta and Mandar Patki sirs, and by using these notes you can be helpful. And one more thing we need to do apart from resources management, retaining, revisions is diagrams. In physical anthropology, diagrams will be inevitable, but the diagrams of other areas are also can be, we should make diagrams out of them. Like whenever there is a talking about hierarchy, make a vertical diagram, or when there is a talking about various branches of something, make a horizontal diagram. So try to be innovative in diagrams. For example, there was a question on how bipedalism helped humans. So I was giving various examples, but I had to bring a diagram. So I made a diagram where bipedalism will be less sun exposure than four-leg walking human, where there is a higher area for sun exposure. See, this you don't need to practice beforehand, but be spontaneous in few areas where you can use diagrams. And for this, Kirti Chekuri ma'am's notes for diagrams is also very good. You can use that. And for language papers, for English, you can use already existing question papers, and there are many solutions already available online. You can check them and practice them and be ready for your language paper. And for your local language paper, for Telugu medium, for English medium students who have lost touch with the Telugu writing and Telugu reading, try to be in touch with the regional newspaper. Try to write now and then in Telugu or in your own language, so that you can get handy on it. And one more thing regarding this is, you don't really need to spend lot of time in this language papers. Rather use this language papers as a recreation or a break from your monotonous preparation. So this is the entire strategy for mains preparation. So the next part of mains preparation is test series. So the test series also play key role in mains, where we have to be very disciplined between prelims and mains, where we have to be writing our tests in periodic intervals. So we evaluate and we understand where our structure is going wrong, why we can't meet the demand of the question. So regarding this, subscribing for a test series, we have to be considering few criteria. Like if you are already good with answer writing, and if you are having good skills with answer writing, it is okay to subscribe for any test series and you can be getting feedback. But if you are a beginner for writing answers, and if you don't know what is wrong with your answers, rather prefer personalized guidance, and where a mentor can be there for you, where you can go to the person, like rather than online, where you can go to the person, discuss with the person why your answer was bad, how your answer can be better. Even here at AKS, they have launched a mains test series, and I have seen that they have been giving personalized mentorship for people who are staying in our state. They need not be discouraged that they can be going to Delhi and be writing the test series. It will be very useful if you have personalized mentoring, if this is your beginning stage and you can't figure out your problem, so that you can understand the particular minor aspects of our answers. So I was also one of the beneficiaries when I also had my mentors, my helpers, who told that small changes needed to be done for answer writing betterment. So yeah, this is being provided here at AKS.
This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.